Hey guys, Gathering the Magic back again, and wanted to do this video on totems for the upcoming land expansion. And when I first got into this video, I was thinking, well, it's not going to be that complicated. I mean, a totem is basically just an item that you get, and you place it on your plot of land, and it gives you a specific buff, and that's about it. But as I dived a little bit deeper into it, I saw that it's a lot more complicated than that, and I had some questions about totems, and some of it was answered in a post that they did a while ago. There's a good post on Peak D talking about the land expansions, and this is from October of 2020, so a lot has probably changed since then. But just some of the basics I think they're probably going to keep. So let's go through this, and we do know that the totems are going to have different rarities going from common to legendary, but one of the questions that I had is, well, if you have, let's say, an epic totem, does that mean it's just going to give you a higher buff, or is it going to give you more than one ability? So what I was thinking is, would like a common totem only have one ability, a rare would have two, epic 3, legendary 4? Because to me that would make legendaries really powerful, just for the simple fact that you could have 4 different abilities on a totem. Like let's say you had a legendary totem and it gave you plus harvesting amount that you got off your land, reduce the time, you could use it to repair your buildings, and it would give you less time for minting your card. That would be a legendary totem. But according to their post, they said each totem will provide one very specific type of benefit. So you're only going to get one ability per totem, regardless of whether it's common or legendary. So as of now, legendary will just give you either a higher harvesting boost, or it will give you the highest buff for the least amount of time it takes to mint a card. So the other question I had was, will they be splinter specific, or will they give bonuses to all splinters? So let's say you got a totem that's like a plus 10% boost to harvesting. Would that be just in general, or would that be to a specific splinter? And going by what they said, it's going to be one very specific type of benefit. So, for example, it may speed up Death Splinter item card minting time. So then I looked into, well, how many different splinters could there possibly be? Or not splinters, how many different like abilities and buffs could there be for your totem? So the possible abilities and buffs I was looking at was some of the basic ones to speed up the amount of time for harvesting. Well, you have 4 different natural resources, you have 6 different magical resources that you can collect depending on your land type, and then if you have an occupied land, there's essences that you can get. So just there, that could be 11 different totems, just depending on what type of resource that you have. And then also there's ones, another possibility could be for reducing your repair cost to your building. And then these are all the different buildings that you could possibly have to be repaired. There's 4 harvesting buildings for natural resources, 4 buildings for refining, 6 buildings for harvesting your magical resources, 1 building for harvesting essences, and then of course 1 building for actually making your item. Some other abilities I thought they could have is maybe for your storage buildings, you could have a totem that gives you increased storage space, and decreased time to mint your cards, possibly decreased amount of resources you need to mint your cards, and a cool totem buff that would probably be the most expensive totem would be the ones that give you an increased chance of getting a legendary item. Because as of now, when you create an item on your land, they said it's going to be random. It will be somewhat based on what magical resources you use. So example, if you use like a death resource, you're going to get some sort of death card, but you don't get to pick which specific death card or item you're going to create. But would this totem give you an increased chance of getting maybe not a common death splinter item, but maybe you get a rare or an epic, that type of thing. So that totem could be very much in demand. But as if you just go through all the different possible combinations of abilities and buffs they have just listed here, there could be over 80 different types of totems. because they're all going to be very specific. If you get the increased harvesting time one, it could be for stone. Well, what happens if your land plot is a forest and it's wood? Then your totem is pretty much useless for you, so you're probably going to have to trade it on the marketplace. So it's not going to be simply there's 5 or 6 different kinds of totems, and pretty much the totem that you have is going to align with your plan for your land plot for what building you put on it. So the conclusion I had was you're going to want to get a lot of totems, because for one, at this point you don't know what you're going to get, and odds are if you're only purchasing 1 or 2 or 3 plots of land and you have 1 totem or maybe 2 totems, they're probably not going to match. So I think there's going to be a lot of trading for totems on the marketplace once land reveal goes live and people know what they have, because then they can see, okay, I've got 3 plots of land, I've got a forest, I've got a mountain for stone, and I've got one of the magical resources, let's just say life. Okay, so now once you see what your totem is, you can see whether your totem lines up with those land plots or if you're just going to want to trade them. So just to keep that in mind. And one other note that I wanted to pass to you guys, I did not know this until I researched this. Totems are actually not going on the land plot. Totems are going in the building that you build on the land plot. So it kind of says it right. Let me find the highlight right here. Each totem will be a tradable NFT item, just like existing monster and summoner game cards and the upcoming land plot cards. And they can be placed in buildings to provide specific benefits. So until you actually build a building on your land plot, you can't use that totem at all. And once you build your building on that land plot, you can destroy that building and create a different one. But let's say you have a harvest building on your land. The only totem you could put in there would be a totem that it speeds up your harvesting time for that resource, one that increases the amount for that resource, or a repair one for that specific building. So you can see these totems are going to be very, very specific. So like I said, there could be maybe more, but just going by this list, there could be over 80 different totems that are going to be available out there. So my thoughts on totems has changed a lot. Right now I have 2 land plots and my wife has 1 land plot. I'm picking up probably 4 or 5 totems, I think, before land goes out. For one, I'm going to use some to trade, because more than likely 2 or 3 of them I'm not going to be able to use. So I think it's a good idea, guys, to pick up a few. Maybe you want to pick up 2 for every 1 plot of land, figuring 1 you'll probably keep and 1 you can trade. And just wanted to share that information with you. If you guys have any other questions or thoughts on totems, please leave them in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on totems? Do you own land? Are you looking to pick up totems? Did you think, oh, they're probably not worth it? Or after looking at this, are you going to pick up a couple? I think it might be good to pick up totems even if you aren't a landowner, because I think it's going to be a good item that you could probably sell on the marketplace and make a decent amount of money on. I mean, right now I think totems are going fairly cheap. Let's check Hive. So right now, common totems, it says they're selling for around $18. Rares, a little over 50. Epics, 230. And then legendaries, there's only 222. And those are going for over 1,700. So for me, epics and legendaries really aren't worth it just for that little bit of an extra buff. I mean, to go from maybe, I'm just guessing here, a 10% buff on a common to maybe a 20% buff on an epic for that price difference, no. I think totems, if you're going to purchase any of them, common would be the way to go. I mean, as long as you're getting a buff of some type, that's all you need. And as long as they're under 20 bucks, I think it's going to be a good buy. So I'm looking to probably pick some up. When I do pick some up, I will let you guys know. But thanks for watching the video, and like I said, if you have any questions or comments on totems or land in general, please leave them in the comments section below. I will answer them as soon as I can. And like I said, just looking into totems, it's kind of changed my thoughts on them. So hopefully it changed your thoughts on this as well, and maybe you're thinking now about picking some up. So thanks for watching, guys, and happy grinding in your daily rewards. I will see you again soon. Take care.